Good morning, everybody. I see Rebecca Davis and Beverly Moffett are here in the house this morning. We'll get started in just a minute here.
Did you know there's one final place in Africa that isn't green?
I see Glenn's in the house this morning. Good morning, Glenn. We'll get started here in just a minute, everybody. Thanks for your patience. All right, here we are. Good morning, everybody. Glad that you're here this morning. It is downright cold here in the mountains of Arizona this morning. Let's see what the weather report says for Prescott, Arizona. Our weather station is saying 10 degrees right now. We'll see. 12 degrees downtown in downtown Prescott. Yeah, it's really cold. We got probably about a foot of snow yesterday. It varies throughout the area, the region. Some places got just 5 inches. Some places got 18 inches. So it's we got some winter weather, that's for sure. The end of February. So glad you all can make it here this morning. Looks like Rebecca Davis is having Nightbot drop the weather report for Columbia, Missouri, and it is 20 degrees over there. It's very cold as well. Well, everybody, I'm so thankful for y'all. Yesterday we had a really long pop-up live stream, and I was thankful for people like Chuck coming on. Good morning, Chuck. I hope you're doing well. And so many others. Got to meet some new people yesterday. But one of the things I really want to mention is just to be praying for the people in Ukraine right now. I mentioned that Danielle used to be involved in a nonprofit organization that went to Russia, Kosovo, and Ukraine and ministered to pastors and orphanages there. And anyway, our heart breaks for Ukraine, but pray for the Christians there. There are quite a few Christians that you'll probably never hear about that are gathering together and praying together, and they're strong people. I'll tell you what. And I guarantee that they'll be sharing the gospel as trouble comes. They'll share who is their refuge and who is their strength with their neighbors. So be praying for that. Good morning, Barb. Glad you're here. Good morning, Heather Lynn. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that right away this morning so I don't forget. Also, pray there's a lot of people in the chat yesterday talking about migraines and solutions for migraines and the cause of migraines. So there's a lot of people out there. Blinda from Life with Blinda and Chuck has been having lots of headaches and migraines lately. So pray for Blinda. Also pray for Julie at Rise and Shine. I don't see her in here yet this morning, but um, she was having some troubles yesterday with some migraines. So sorry if the my notifications are ringing out here this morning and you can hear that. But I also wanted to pray for some, or I wanted to share some practical stuff with you guys this morning as well. So we'll get into that in just a bit. If you want Nightbot to share your channel link, go ahead and type AZ, just like I did, and Nightbot will drop your channel link so others can connect to you. And if you want to have Nightbot drop your weather report, do what Heather Lynn did by typing in weather and then typing in your town. You don't need to put in your state necessarily, but you can put in a town nearby, and then Nightbot will drop your weather report for your area, just like that. Oh, Blinda's doing good. I'm glad to hear that, Chuck. That's great. All right. I think that's Glenn over at Gathered Together Homestead. At least it was Glenn yesterday. Is that you again, Glenn? It's either Glenn or Jessica, right? In Missouri. Oh, but you know what? Heather Lynn did it right before you. So Nightbot dropped Heather's channel link, and I think there's a timeout. Yes, it is Glenn. Okay. Temp is a lot lower than yesterday. Yeah, it is here too. It's 10 degrees here. So it's a cold one this morning. Hey, good morning, Potato Joe. How are you doing this morning? Glad you're here. All right, there's nine people in the chat this morning, so thankful that you all are here. A lot of people are worried about what to do for gardening and prepping and things like that. Yeah, thanks for praying, Barb. That's great. Jessica's there also. All right. Good morning, Jessica. Glad you're there. That's really warm, Heather. So I just found out from Off the Wall Prepper that I'll be getting some seeds in to share with people in our area, and it's pretty cool. It's an idea that I had to share that among all the YouTube channels, but he really feels led to teach people how to grow their own food. That's kind of one of the best ways that we can love our neighbors, and I have to agree, it's pretty important. If you guys haven't started growing your own food, or if you're new to it, no worries there. That's what our community is all about, is trying to help people grow their own food. Even if you live in a small apartment, you can grow your own food. You might not be able to grow as much as somebody on 80 acres of land, but you can. Um, oh, all right. I'm looking forward to seeing that. We got a new video that might be up today or maybe tomorrow, but definitely by this weekend. Um, just showing some of the changes around here. We'll just leave it at that. Um, all right, getting ready for work. All right, Joe. Well, thanks for joining us. If you want to leave us running, you can listen, and we'd appreciate that. Rebecca says, Nick, I am going to be on Humble Stewart's Crafting at 5 p.m. today, showing how to make the knitted hats. Oh, that's great. Humble Stewart's Crafting. Okay. I'm going to write that down, Rebecca. And so that's probably at 4 p.m. my time. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it because I'm going to have some work. I've got some things to do around here today, so I'm not going to be able to take a break. But I'm writing it down. I might be able to catch just a bit of it or catch the replay. So I wrote that down. Thanks for letting us know, Rebecca. because I have been wanting to see how to make those knitted hats. Um, I sure enjoyed mine yesterday while I was shoveling snow and going out and checking the chickens and all that. Hey, Mindy Joe, glad you're here. Good morning. And yeah, if you guys want to connect with us, I have Nightbot dropping our Instagram and I think our Facebook link as well. But Instagram's a great way to just privately message us if you like. We also put up some photos and stuff that's going on around here from time to time. We put up some fishing short videos and stuff like that up there, so it's fun. We have a practice garden while we live in our apartment. We still depend on our farm CSA to share their farm stand. Yeah, so I think it's a really good idea to practice gardening, even if you have a very small space, even if it's just, you know, in your kitchen or, um, in a corner of a room or something. It really does. It really will benefit you down the road. Just practicing some things right now. So I'll be talking about some of those things I think people should be doing right now as they're preparing for uncertain times. Um, and Hey, sunshine. So glad that you're here. Uh, I forget exactly where you're from. I'm gonna look at my cheat sheet here. Alabama, right? Zone 8A. I love that you put the USDA zone on there, so I know how much warmer it is there than it is here right now. Right now we're down to 10 degrees Fahrenheit at our place, and that's almost the coldest it will get here. We might get down into the single digits sometime throughout the year. That's zone 7B. We do get down into the single digits. But but yeah, USDA zones, that's kind of what they're based off of, right? Um, Heather says, it's easier for me to keep lettuce and dirt outside than it is in the refrigerator. I am the only one who eats it. Yeah, that's one of the best things about growing your own food, including livestock too, right? You don't have to keep it in the fridge or the freezer if you have it on the hoof. Same thing with lettuce, right? It's easier. You can break off, like if you're growing romaine or something, break off one leaf of lettuce if you're having a sandwich or something, right? And then the whole head of lettuce is still growing out there. It's great. You can cut and come again. Are you guys familiar with cut and come again? It's when you grab the lettuce and you cut it off, and then it comes up again. You don't have to pull it out of the ground. In fact, we recommend you never pull anything out of the ground unless it's a root vegetable, um, and that's the no dig method. If anybody's familiar with the no dig method, leave us a comment. Um, we will be spending April 15th to October 15th gardening for others 3.5 hours away from our home. Wow, Barb. Oh, I want to know more about that. That's so interesting. So, you're going to be like on vacation. You're going to be in a different location for what is that? The fourth month to the 10th month, 6 months. You're going to be 3.5 hours away from home gardening. That's very intriguing. I'm curious. Mindy Jo says, I grew up in a gardening family. We ate canned garden food all year round, still do. Thankful for my upbringing. It's one of the best things. We homeschool our sons, and that's one of the best things that we're teaching them is how to grow your own food, how to be responsible, how to love your neighbors, right? If you got neighbors that are hurting, it's sure nice to have some food to give them. Belinda and a friend are heading to Alabama today, so y'all take care of her, Sunshine. Make sure she stays out of trouble. Sending Belinda down towards Sunshine this morning, huh? We'll be praying that Belinda has safe travels with her friend. Lettuce will eventually bolt, and then I pull it up. Yeah, so we don't pull our lettuce up. What we do is we just cut it off right at the base, right at the ground level, and then we'll often let one of them go to seed, usually the best one, and then we'll save the seed. So when it bolts, we're kind of just getting ready for a different type of harvest, and that is the seed harvest. So we'll just let it sit there and go, and then once it's all dried up and everything, then we'll cut it and throw everything in the compost except the seeds, and we'll save the seeds for next year. But if you can give people a chance to, we got 11 people in here right now. If you guys know what the no dig method is, don't Google it. Don't search on DuckDuckGo. Just let me know if you know what the no dig method is. There's also the no till method, and they're pretty similar, but we do the no dig method, and a lot of people have wondered how our garden does so well here in arid Arizona. And some of it is the amendments and the compost that we've added, and things like that. Of course, fertilizers and things like that, organic fertilizers. We only do organic gardening here, but a big part of it is the no dig method. So that's one of our big things. Uh, but I'll let people talk about the no dig method if they know what it is. If not, I'll share that here in a minute. Make a note to share that. I should probably do videos on all this stuff that are separate. Most of our gardening is container gardening. Yep, I understand that, Heather Lynn. Yeah, you can you can do no dig in the container. It may or may not benefit you as greatly, um, but I would try it. Yeah, especially if you can do like a A/B comparison with what you're already doing. If you can just try it like the next season. Anyway, I'll talk about that in a bit. So a lot of people are wondering what to do in uncertain times. Um, Emergency preparedness is a big thing on a lot of people's minds right now. With there's a new war that's breaking out, and there are um, truckers headed to DC. Right, there's shipping issues, supply issues, just uncertain times in general. Right, so a lot of people um, a lot of people are thinking about being more of a prepper right now. And while we're not really as much of preppers as a lot of people that we know, the one way that we prep is kind of how Heather's talking about, leaving plants in the ground, having animals, right? If we had to cull one of our chickens for meat, that's possible. But we've got eggs coming in every day, and we've got food that we're growing in our garden, and we got fruit trees and things like that. We definitely don't provide all of our food. We're not homesteaders to that level where we can provide all of our food, but we're working towards that. That's one of our long-term goals, is to be able to grow all of our food. So it may be once our teenage boys move out of the house eventually, because they eat a lot of food, then it'd be a lot easier, that's for sure. But we want to grow more than we can eat so we can share with our neighbors. Um, yeah, yeah. I'm seeing some good comments in here. So let me address those real quick, and I'll get back to what I was talking about. We don't do organic gardening to a T, but everything that we put in our garden is organic. Yeah, we're with you there, Heather. It's hard to do organic gardening where you would be like certified, like a lot of the products that you buy at the store are organic. Um, but you can work towards that, right? I think that's what all of us should be doing, is working towards getting better at everything in life, right? And so that's one of those things. Organic gardening does take longer, um, so the nutrients aren't necessarily readily available for the plants right then and there. It takes more forethought, and you got to think about, okay, next year I want this to be more fertile. and oftentimes you end up having deficiencies that show up in your plants. And so you want to plan ahead. You want to start today. So that's one of the things I was going to talk about is composting. Every single one of you should be composting. Okay, I'm not gonna cut any of you slack. Every single one of you should be composting. I don't care if you live in a studio apartment. I don't care where you live. Every single one of you should be growing something, right? Even if it's just a house plant, and you should be composting. Composting doesn't take much, and you don't have to compost a huge pile. You can compost a tiny little bucket or bowl of compost. But I highly recommend you start and you learn how it works. And you won't learn very well unless you do it yourself and you start sometime. So start today. Start composting today if you aren't already. Um, it is the most valuable thing that we have done on our property by far. And it was free. So, uh, anyway, sorry if I'm being a little bit harsher than usual, but every single one of you should be composting. Um, all right. Barb says we will be back and forth from home. We have family and friends that have never gardened. We have seasonal campsite rented. Oh, nice. What a great way to love your family and friends that have never gardened. Good morning, Zany May. Glad you're here. Never heard of the no dig method. All right, thanks for the feedback, Rebecca. Hey, good morning, Stephen. Glad you're here. Mindy Joe says all kinds of things popping off. Keeping my eyes on Damascus. Looks like we'll see Isaiah 17 fulfilled. We'll see about that. Yeah. Pay attention. When there's something going on in the world and all eyes are in one place, there's bound to be something else that's going on, right? Rebecca, we tried to email you using the one in about page, but it came back as not deliverable. Um, uh, Stephen, if you need Rebecca's email, I've had correspondence with her, so you could email me, and I can get that to you. We do compost, but it's not a big amount because we just have the results of 2 people eating. Also, our compost is often missing an element because we don't do lawn care. Yeah, that's no problem at all, Heather. Just keep doing what you're doing. You'll learn you'll learn stuff. I promise you, you'll learn a whole bunch just composting, even if it's just 2 people. That's not a big deal at all. Food scraps are probably one of the best things. Yeah, if you can get browns, which are like deciduous leaves, if you can find leaves in the fall and have just like a big trash bag full of them, I mean, it sounds kind of weird to just hang on to those, but I found that's one of the best things. And also, if you have shredded paper, the paper that you often will get in the mail isn't the best paper. You know, it's bleached paper, and oftentimes there's ink and stuff in there that you don't know what it is. But sometimes they'll just send a blank page or they'll send whatever. Right? We've composted our shredded. We've got a paper shredder, right, to shred our paper. But you don't have to have a paper shredder. You can just shred it by hand, throw it in the compost. That's one of the best ways that you can get browns. You mix that with coffee grounds, you've got some really great compost. So there's no excuse not to compost. Good morning, Scott. I'm glad you're here, my friend. Hope everything's well in Canada and in your part of Canada. People are saying hello to one another here. That's great. Um, oh no, I'm so sorry, Steven. That dang ice. Yeah, that's no fun. It's 10 degrees over here. We got snow on the ground. We attempted to do a lasagna garden this past fall, but I'm not sure we did it correctly. You know what? Um, we've had good and bad experiences with layering things. So lasagna garden is just when you layer different layers of stuff to compost in the garden, and it can work out really well. but I don't recommend layering like cardboard, for instance, on your garden soil unless you're trying to kill off grass or weeds that are there and existing, and you have a flat surface already for your garden, and you're not going to dig it up. It's a really easy way. If you can just layer all that cardboard and leave no gaps, then it's great, but you have to keep it wet. So here in the Southwest, it dries out a little bit too quickly unless you put a bunch of stuff on top of it. And then, uh, it's, in my opinion, it's more valuable to have, like, if you put compost on top of that cardboard, the plant's roots will hit that barrier. They'll find the wet spots and they will not go through the dry spots in the cardboard. And it's really hard to keep it wet. So that's my opinion about lasagna gardens or laying down cardboard. I'm gonna try to keep up with the comments. Zany May in Florida is using the AZ command to get Nightbot to drop Spring Meadow Farm and Garden channel link. So go subscribe to Spring Meadow Farm and Garden if you haven't already. All right, Heather Lynn's got a bunch of great comments about composting and gardening, so I don't want to miss them. We did save some of the leaves and put it in the compost before the landscapers came with the big leaf sucker upper and took most of the leaves. Hang on just a second, everybody. I'm having an issue with my light. I'll be right back. All right, I think I fixed it. Let's see. All right, is that better? I've been trying some new light setups, so thanks for your patience with me, everybody. Got 15 people in here right now. That's great. All right, I might have missed some comments, but let's see. Okay, good morning, Gwen. Glad you're here. I compost everything except meat products and have a time keeping the fire ants out of the compost pile and raised beds. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, we've got ants out here too. Right now, they're not a problem. They're kind of dormant underground, but you can compost meat products. So I I've heard many times we don't compost meat products usually in our house just because we have critters that will get into it, and we don't have big enough compost pile. But if you have a big enough compost pile and you can keep critters out of it, or you can bury it deep enough in the middle of the compost pile, you can for sure compost meat. When there was a surplus of pork, of pigs that they couldn't process last year. I think it was last year. Um, there's a amazing, incredible, crazy video about a big rig that has, I don't know what they're called. You guys will have to tell me or or whatever, but it's got a long bed, right? Like a long, like a semi trailer, and then it's a side dump. So it's not a typical dump truck that dumps out the back, but it dumps out the side. And there's a compost factory, I guess, commercial compost making facility, and they have these long beds of compost, and they had a tractor that went up there and kind of scooped out the center, and they dumped all these pigs, like hundreds and hundreds of dead pigs, into the middle of the compost and piled it back over top. And then they showed, I think it was 6 days later, and then 14 days later. 6 days later, it was just bones, and 14 days later, you can't even tell that the pigs were ever there. They composted fast, but they had, big piles, and it was hot compost. So, um, yeah, you can compost everything. It all will compost. You just have to have it hot enough and have a big enough pile, and that will usually keep out the critters if you have it deep enough and a big enough compost pile. So we fill it. We'll help them teach them more rather than just raise more here to share. Yeah. Uh, Teach a man to fish, right? We got Crubby the Beetle. Hello, Crubby the Beagle. Make a cup of coffee in the morning during the week. I save it and put it in the compost. Yep. Coffee grounds are really great. Okay, Rebecca Davis fixed the problem with the email. My pleasure to help everyone learn and grow their channel. Yeah, Mr. Boots and Bounty has a great channel, and I've learned a lot. Steven, you and Casey know way too much about YouTube, by the way. I was watching last night, and you're talking about it, and Casey's in the back, chiming in about all the different things that you can do, looking at other channels and seeing what did she say yesterday? You can look and see when the most views happen throughout the day and figure out what hour you should go live. And I'm thinking, that's just crazy that you guys know that. It's awesome. It's amazing. It's really helpful. But there's so much you can learn about YouTube and growing your channel. And I just have fun talking with you guys like this. I have fun editing and making videos and being creative too. But lately I've just been throwing up just kind of a raw, unedited video, and just trying to get some up there. I'll probably be doing that again for all the snow that we've gotten here, and checking our chickens and checking out the property, and just kind of our daily um, routine of going out there and taking care of the property in the winter. Um, Anyway, into adventures. Good morning, Shannon. Glad you're here. We've never composted, so today I'll research what I need to do to begin. Thanks for the nudge. Yeah, Mindy Joe. So, all you need to do to compost, and I'm dead serious, is take food scraps, compost, even paper. I'll take a paper towel. If we use a paper towel to, let's say, we clean up some water that spilled or something like that, right? Anything that's not, chemicals or whatever. Just take that paper towel, throw it into some bowl or extra trash can or something like that. You probably will want a lid on it, to be honest. And if you can keep it outside, that's great. But if you can keep it in a semi-warm spot, that's even better. And just start piling in food scraps. If you cut the bottom off of a broccoli or the top off of a carrot, throw them in there. If you've got leftovers, the carbohydrates like the breads and other things like that aren't the best, but they'll compost. Just the bigger the compost pile, the faster stuff will compost. So just be patient if you only have a small space and don't have a lot to compost. There's also people that compost in the ground. They'll dig a huge hole and pile everything in there. They don't want stuff mounding up in their yard. They want it to look nice and clean. And then you can just put boards or whatever. It depends on if you have, small children or dogs or cats or whatever. If you have critters, if you don't have a fence around your property, all those things you need to think about ahead of time. But it's not complicated. You just throw that stuff in there and it decays and it breaks down. And you want a good mix of what they call browns and greens. So, greens are anything that is fresh and alive, like vegetables or coffee grounds. There's a whole list of things that you can see. They're greens and browns. But to be honest, the ratios don't matter as much. You'll figure it out as time goes on. You'll figure out, oh, this is super dry. And if it's super dry, you probably don't have enough greens in there. You probably just added a bunch of leaves or a bunch of paper, right? Cardboard. I've composted with cardboard a lot. You don't want the tape, you don't want the stickers, stuff like that. But most inks are usually okay. A lot of them are soy-based ink. So anyway, it's not a big deal, and it's really easy to do, and it adds a ton of fertility. And if you can just keep it around, it's some of the best organic fertilizer you will ever find. All right, coffee grounds and tea bags go in the compost. Yep, same here. Every day we have coffee grounds and tea bags that we are putting into our compost. Um, all right, Stephen, let me know why you would put a hashtag instead of like the at symbol, and does it matter? Oftentimes I've been tagged and nobody's put a hashtag or an at symbol. It's just AZ Highland Homestead, and it pops up in orange or whatever when I'm looking through the comments, so I see it. Um, I don't know, Kirby the Beagle. I haven't seen any links from you either, so I don't know. I don't know. Nightbot is just automatically set up, so I don't know if you're not posting links. That is strange. It hasn't really decomposed. I think that we have to put a layer of organic raised bed soil on top of it. Um, you're talking about the lasagna. Yeah, that's been our experience as well. It doesn't decompose nearly as fast as most people talk about it decomposing. So yeah, I don't recommend it. That's all I gotta say. Hey, no problem, sunshine. I understand. Appreciate you letting us know that you gotta step away. Kirby the Beagles putting up their channel link. So check them out. There's Sunshine putting up their channel link. Yeah. Good morning to everyone indeed, Gwen. I'm trying to catch up here. 10 minutes behind, as usual. Um, yeah, so compacted and junky soil. We have that here, or we did. Now it's a lot better. What we did is that we bought cover crop seeds, and you can use all kinds of things as cover crop. It really just depends on what your soil is like, what kind of seeds that you have available, what works well in your area. I'm not the best person to ask about it. Your local agricultural cooperative in your area is probably the best place to go to figure out what will grow well in your area for cover crop. But there are a lot of cover crops that will break up the soil. Daikon radish is one. If you've got really hard soil that's compacted, you can plant daikon radish, and you can eat the radish too if you want, or you can chop it up, put it in the compost. Um, with compost too, I forgot to mention, the smaller you chop it up, the faster, the more surface area there is, the faster it'll decompose. So you don't need to put stuff like in the blender and have a soup that you put in your compost. But if you did, it would probably decompose really fast. But I tend to chop up things like a daikon radish. It's not going to decompose real fast. Old potatoes and things like that, oranges and all that. A lot of people say don't put oranges in your compost. Don't put any citrus. Don't put meat. Don't put this or that or whatever. You can compost it all. However, you will have issues. Citrus is somewhat of a preservative for those of you who know. You can make ceviche, and it kind of cooks the shrimp or the fish. And there's a reason for that, right? Citrus is harsh, and it'll kill off bacteria. So That's why people say don't use that. But if you don't have it as all citrus, then it'll probably be all right. But compacted and junky soil can really be helped by planting plants that will break up that soil and will add nutrients and roots to the soil. So I didn't see anybody mention no dig, so I'm gonna talk about that real quick. While I try to just scrub through the comments here real quick. Um, yeah, exact same thing here, sunshine. I do as well. Good morning, Jeremiah. Glad that you're here. Um, yeah, if you can buy compost, then great. But a beached whale, Heather? Oh, yeah, I wouldn't try a composted beached whale. That would be just too big. Um, don't compost potato skins. I think somewhere I heard that you shouldn't. We do it all the time. Um, Gwen, yeah, you can definitely compost potato skins. Some people talk about like viruses and fungus and stuff like that being transferred, and it does happen. You can my father-in-law told me, don't ever compost your roses, and there is some truth to that. If you have a hot enough compost pile, it'll kill off any pathogens, any fungus, and it'll be no problem. But you do want to be careful if you have like there's potato blight, right? So maybe that's where that comes from. You can, but it can cause you problems if you don't get it hot enough, and it won't decompose if you don't get it hot enough too. So, um, oh, you if you own a restaurant and you've got 3 acres, yeah, you're in for an amazing fertility experience, Mindy Joe. Yeah, I can't wait to follow along as you figure that out. Um, you may want to do research. You may want to set up some bays. We set up some bays out of old pallet wood, and it was free wood. And I just have a nailer, a pneumatic nailer that I hook up to my air compressor, and so I took apart all those pallets. I just took a reciprocating saw and cut the nails behind the boards, took all those boards off, and just used the big pieces as uprights, and just put those uh, put those pallet wood pieces on the outside, and just made a three-sided bay, and then connected the front, top, and bottom. And anyway, you can see I've got a video on compost bin, how to make it, and there's lots of other videos out there. You can get really extravagant and spend tons of money and time on building awesome compost beds, or not beds, bins, or or you don't have to. You can just make a pile, like I was saying, and it'll work. Yes, you can. We've added red wrigglers, and it does help, and they end up in the garden, and that's good. Horse manure, chicken bedding from the garden plants from previous year, leaves, grass, coffee grounds. Yep, exact same thing here, Glenn. Yeah, it all composts down. Chicken bedding, wood chips, and stuff like that. They all compost, but the hotter the better, and the smaller uh, particles, the more surface area, the faster it goes. Uh, it's all good. I'll talk about compost forever, everybody. Yeah, you can do that too. Yeah. Hey, Audrey Willis. I don't think I've met you before, Audrey. Let me know where you're from. I have a list of people who visit our live streams. So if you want to let me know like what state you're in, that'd be fun to know, or what part of the world you live in. Good morning, Lisa. You're reminding me to drink my coffee before it goes cold. This is my coffee cup from Grand Canyon National Park, just north of us. All right, I gotta plow through these comments. Um, Sorry if I missed your comments, everybody. Um, I gotta keep moving along, moving along. Hey, good morning, Tiny Tim. Glad you're here, my friend. Um, yeah, and if you do what Lisa did, type in AZ. That's the command that tells Nightbot to drop your channel link so other people can connect to you. So uh, feel free to do that. Um, yep, potato skins can, and sweet potatoes too, can grow potatoes in your compost. We usually um, just knock off those sprouts on there, and they'll compost eventually. Or we've even taken those sprouting skins or slips. They're basically, it's like you're making a potato or sweet potato slip, and we've planted them, and we've grown another potato or a sweet potato. So it does work. It's not as ideal as using a seed potato or actually, purposefully doing it, but it works. And yeah, we've done it even in containers too. All right, currently in Georgia, Ohio, heading to Georgia later. All right, Ohio to Georgia. Well, congratulations on moving to Georgia. Whenever that happens, that's exciting. We've got a friend in Ohio, and the weather there isn't as nice as it is in Georgia. I know that for sure. At least most parts. All right, all right. Everybody's dropping there. Still in you. Glad you're here. You have to tell me what part of the country you're in or part of the world. I forget. Um, I've definitely seen you in chats before, so appreciate you being here. All right. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate that. I love it when stuff grows out of my compost. Yeah, me too. We had something that grew in our compost one year. What was it? It was something great that grew in our compost. And I pulled it out and I'm like, Danielle, check this out. And she's like, what? What in the world? But I think it was because it was warm in there. Something sprouted that normally wouldn't have. Um, Tanya D from Boise, Idaho. Good morning. We're so glad that you're here. Um, you who haven't been to our any of you who haven't been to our live stream before, if you want to let us know how you found us or if somebody sent you over here, I'd love to know who to thank. Um, all right, New Jersey, yeah, right on. And if those of you who are new here don't know, you can type in weather in a town nearby you, just like I'm doing right now, and Nightbot will drop the weather report for your area. Gwen says, never tried to grow my channel. Posted one video last March. Well, post another video, Mindy Joe. There's nothing to it. You don't have to show your face or anything. You don't even have to talk. You could even put subtitles on it if you want. But yeah, teach us something about what's going on in your neck of the woods. It'd be really fun to learn about your restaurant and how you're using your 3 acres to grow more food. Especially if you could take the scraps from the restaurant, compost them, grow food, and then use that food to cook something in the restaurant, and then take the scraps from that and put it back. Have this like good cycle going on. I think that'd be so cool. We grew loofah. It didn't grow as well as we had hoped, but we did get some loofah out of it. They just weren't super great. Yeah, we had 10 degrees this morning. It's starting to warm up. It's 14 degrees in downtown Prescott, which is south of us. But yeah, use the excuse of having to go top off my coffee to walk away from someone talking too much. uh, yep. Uh, well, hopefully that wasn't me, sunshine. Hey, good morning, off the wall prepper. So glad that you're here, brother. I was telling people about the seeds, right? And I won't give too much away about all that. They can go to your channel and learn more about what you're doing with that and how we're planning to help you. But So glad that you're here. So excited what you're doing, wanting to teach people how to grow their own food. It's awesome. All right, Jeremiah's having the weather report drop for Stephenville, Texas. Grow food and be self-reliant. Yeah. Yep. Well, yeah, you like that idea. All right. Well, yeah. Well, let's see it, Mindy Joe. I would love to just, one of the things I regret doing is not taking video earlier on, uh, wondering if stuff was going to succeed or fail. And it's fun to just go along for the journey, even if it's a failure. It's awesome to learn from one another. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, off the wall prepper. Glad that you're here. Glad that you're sharing. Um, yeah, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Um, Lots of great people here in the chat this morning. Um, I make videos even though I'm still working on my confidence. All right. So, um, yeah, I'm working on my confidence too, Heather. Absolutely. Uh, all right. So, yeah, if you type in weather and your location, Nightbot will drop your weather. If you type in AZ, just those two letters, Nightbot will drop your channel link so others can connect to you. That's one of the big goals here. Is connecting to other channels and supporting one another. So please do that. When you do go to their channel, please watch one of their videos. At least put it on a watch later playlist of yours and go watch it. Leave a comment. Leave a substantial comment, like 2 sentences long, or what I recommend. And I I heard you talking about that this morning, off the wall prepper. Planted a garden last year, got sidetracked, and guess what? Had tomatoes, strawberries, and cucumbers just waiting for you there. That's awesome. That's great. Here in Arizona, if we did that, it'd have to be during monsoon season because everything else would dry out if we didn't pay attention to it. All right. So one of the things I was talking about was just the uncertainty in the world today and how so many people are kind of like, well, what should I do? What should I do? So I was talking about composting. Everybody should compost. And I'm not cutting any of you slack. Yeah, I said that already this morning. I'm going to say it again because it's important. You need to listen here. Okay? Listen. Start composting. I don't care who you are, where you live, what's going on. If you live with your parents, if you have dozens of people living with you, I don't care. Start composting. Get a small bin if you only have a small space. Bigger the compost pile, the better. We put an ad on Craigslist for lawn clippings. We don't have a lawn, and we put an ad on Craigslist and said, "Hey, we want free lawn clippings as long as you don't use pesticides or herbicides at all. If you use Roundup, no, we're not going to take them. If you use any kind of pesticides, no, we're not going to take them. But if you don't, we will come and we will pick up your trash bags of your lawn clippings. And we also do that with leaves. We'll let people know. And we picked them up. And I'll tell you what, we had full compost bins immediately from generous people who are willing to just set them outside, out front of their house. And they were happy that they weren't going into the landfill. It's an easy way to compost. And I'll tell you what, you'll never get better organic fertilizer than that. It is so great. And you can just lay it down on the ground and you can plant right in it. I'm not joking, people. It works really well. And if you don't have ground to plant in, get a get a pot. Just get a pot. You can even get these big, they have plastic totes. They're these huge bins. People usually put drinks with ice in them at a party or something like that. Or get an old cooler, leave the top up, plant right in there. You need to have some drainage holes, but you can put one inside of another and put it up on bricks or something, have drainage. I'm telling you, get started growing your own food. Not because you might need it next month, but because you'll learn something for next year. You'll learn and you'll keep building on that learning. I see lots of great comments here in the chat. I'm just gonna keep talking, everybody. Yeah, Yep. I'm just trying to spit some truth here, folks. I try to sling the truth. I try to tell you guys about my walk of faith, and I'm trying to tell you what I know. I took lots of classes in soil science in college, and we've been experimenting with compost um, for, let's see, almost 20 years. Um, so I know what I'm talking about. And compost is something that um, you can buy it, but you don't know what went into it. You have no idea what went into it, and there's no real regulations on that. Sorry for the notifications. If you guys hear those notifications come up, my my prayer group is asking for prayer on stuff. So I don't want to get off topic. So compost, start composting today, right now. Take coffee grounds, take shredded. If you have got a paper shredder and you've got paper shreds, throw those in there. They act just like dried leaves do. If you've got grass from a lawn, you're wasting it if you're throwing it away. Put it in the compost. It's great for compost. If you got coffee grounds, if you drink coffee like I do, if you drink tea, throw your tea bags in there. You don't even need to take off the strings there. Just throw it all in there. You can get it later. You can pull it out later. Staples and all that, whatever. Just throw it in. You'll get it out later. It's not a big deal. Um, just throw it in there. Throw in all your food scraps and everything. Oils aren't the best. Meats aren't the best. Breads aren't the best. Everything else, throw it in there. All right. All right. That's all for compost. Coffee outside. If any of you know what coffee outside is, I would be amazed and I would be impressed for sure. Um, if you just type in AZ, Nightbot will drop your link. Okay, everybody connect to one another. Okay, if you're not subscribed to somebody in here, go ahead and subscribe to them. There's great people here in the chat. You'll love their content. Um, so coffee outside is a way to make coffee like you would if you were camping. Okay, but you don't need to be camping. Go make it on your back porch. Learn how to cook outside like you would be if you were camping. I'm telling you, Pathways Homestead. You guys all need to subscribe to Pathways Homestead if you haven't already. Gary and Cindy know what's up. They know what they're doing. They've been homesteading for years on small and large properties. They've got a lot. They've got a lot of knowledge that you all will benefit from. I guarantee it. Um, composting is just okay, Chuck, and you might want to do it. No, everybody, you need a compost. I'm not joking at all. If you're throwing that stuff in the landfill, you're wasting it. It's something that takes time. It takes time to decompose, but some of the it's black gold, people. All right, that's it. All right. Coffee outside most mornings. All right. No, that's not what I'm referring to, Mindy Joe. I'm referring to making your coffee outside, all of it, right? So if you use ground coffee, you're one step ahead, but it's not as good. uh, I'm I'm kind of joking there, but not really. I have home roasted coffee, so we roast our own coffee here. We get green beans delivered, and then we roast it, and I make it at home just like most of you do, but I practice, and I was practicing once a week making coffee. You don't need to make it over a campfire necessarily, Glenn. You can use a small stove. They've got these little canister stoves. Learn how to make it over a campfire and not getting ashes in your coffee is a huge skill. Yes, lots. In fact, almost all coffee shops, if you ask them, "Hey, what do you do with your coffee grounds?" They usually have somebody already that comes and picks them up to compost them, but many don't. So just go and ask, and it's free. Yeah, all those free ways of getting leaves and coffee grounds and lawn clippings and all that. Ask your neighbors. Seriously, ask your neighbors. Like, hey, do you spray pesticides or herbicides at all? Okay, you spray Roundup in your front yard, but not your backyard. Okay, I'll take all the stuff from your backyard that you would normally throw out or take to the dump. I'll come and get it off of your backyard, right? It's easy. All right. I already got off that topic. I don't need to keep going, but yes, if you have a little stove burner, right? Little propane burners, learn how to make coffee outside or tea, just or hot chocolate, whatever. But learn how to boil water on your own. It's a great skill to have, whether it's over a fire that is a wood fire or whatever. You can even use charcoal. If you got a charcoal grill, you can boil water that way. But learn how to boil water. It's essential for so many foods, and if you can boil water, you can cook a lot of different things. All right. Second close thing to that, if you um, if you don't know how to start a fire, many of you do, right? And this might seem like stupid to so many of you who make a fire to heat your house. But it's easier to keep that fire going than it is to start a brand new fire. Am I right? I think you guys know what I'm talking about. Learn how to start a fire, and if you can learn how to start a fire from um, non-man-made materials, what's that? Natural materials, not using any kind of accelerant. You can use a lighter. I'll give you that. Right, some type of lighter. That's fine. But if you can use materials around you that aren't man-made, then that's great. Jute twine makes a good fire starter as well. So if you have a lot of jute twine laying around, that makes a good fire starter. Cotton balls, those are all man-made stuff, though, right? So it's kind of a cheating way to go. But you should learn how to make a fire if you don't know how to make a fire from the natural materials in your area. A lot of people, what if you couldn't start a fire in the future? What if supplies were limited? You couldn't get cotton balls, you couldn't get matches or whatever, right? Learn how to make a fire. It looks like people are dropping off. People aren't interested in this stuff, but this is when people start worrying about supply shortages and things like that. These are things that I think are really helpful. I wrote down just a few things. Learn how to make a shelter if you ever have to travel. I'm not talking about building a huge, Robinson Crusoe or whatever Swiss Family Robinson style um, structure. I'm talking about just get a tarp. I got a tarp from this place called Bushcraft USA. It's a made in the USA tarp, and it's great. I've used it in the rain before. It's really fun actually with my sons. Just got a couple of small ropes or strings that hold it out. And there's a ton of different ways that you can use um, a tarp. I see you there, Anthony. Why are you so late? No, just joking. Yes, Arc Wildman Survival is a great channel. Dry pine needles can work. There's other things like birch bark is amazing. There's also pine. What's it called? Um, Oh, why am I why am I not able to remember fatwood? Anybody know about fatwood? Fatwood lights up like you're lighting a candle, basically. Um, so yeah, cowboy coffee. Yep, yep, yep. Birch bark. There it is. Yep, birch bark is awesome. Um, so learn how to start a fire. Learn how to make a shelter. And I suggest bringing these things with you in your vehicle. This time of year, it can save your life if you get stuck somewhere and nobody's coming by. Most of the time, you guys are probably around neighbors and people in your community, and you're not head off deep into the woods or something like that. But you never know, right? You never know what might happen. So learn how to make a shelter, and you can do it with the tarp. You can also do it with logs and branches of trees and things like that. But yeah, it's a great thing to learn. This is what Cindy and Gary are saying over at Pathways Homestead. Pick one day a week and gather as much wild food as possible. So, yes, that is true. There are a lot of foods that you can eat, even stinging nettle, if you can believe it. Stinging nettle and cattails, and there's all kinds of things that you can eat that really aren't bad. Off the wall prepper was talking about this morning eating grasshoppers. Totally, you can totally eat them. If you practice now, it's not going to be so terrible if there's not food in the future. But We're not really hardcore preppers here. We try to grow our own stuff, and we go to the store every week. That's just how it's been. But if the store doesn't have stuff, well, what are we gonna do? We got grasshoppers, but not right now. There's no grasshoppers right now. And we got sunflower seeds. I got these sunflowers here. We got sunflower seeds, but they're sunflowers aren't growing right now. What would you eat right now? It's good to think about that stuff. Um, yeah, fat pine, fat wood. Hey, good morning, Carol. We're so glad that you're here. S- Steamed that almost nutritious. Yeah. Yep. There is a way to find out if you have fat wood in a certain branch of the pine, and the pine sap is an amazing fire starter. So um, there's things that you can there's things that you can look up that will show you if you want to learn how to make fire with those plants that are in your area. Hey, our new land. That must be Devin. Good morning, Devin. Glad that you're here. Um, all right, so learn how to make a shelter. I talked about coffee outside or tea or hot chocolate. Just try it. And I recommend it once a week. If you learn how to make it once a week and it becomes like autopilot and you can do it with your eyes closed or when you're super tired, you can do it in an emergency situation. And that's a really useful thing to be able to get all your camping gear, whatever, out there. And you don't need much. You can just have a stainless steel mug. They cost $5 to $10. You can get them at Walmart if you want. And just a small camping stove, or you can make a little fire. You can just light some briquettes up. Even use the lighter fluid if you want to. Cook it on your barbecue. If you got propane, use your propane grill or whatever outside, something other than what your natural gas or your electricity. Just practice that, because what if your electricity is out for a week? Uh, then you know how to do that kind of with your eyes closed, and it's really a great feeling to know. Well, I can go and use my camping gear right now, or I can go and build a fire and I can cook this food that I have. Right? You might have a ton of meat stored up, but if it's not beef jerky, I don't know how you're gonna cook it. Dude, yes, Gary and Cindy, yes, we feed our chickens grasshoppers all the time. In fact, I've got a dirtier hat than this. It's the same exact hat, but it's a different one. And I take it and I throw it at the grasshoppers during the spring, summer, and fall when the grasshoppers are around. And then I'll step on the grasshopper, go throw it to the chickens, and turn grasshoppers into eggs. It's great. Yeah, I've heard about that. I haven't tried that, and it should be, some stuff that we can try. But you can pull the cattails up, and you can actually eat their shoots like I guess they're kind of like a bamboo shoot kind of taste or whatever. But yeah, there's lots of things that you can do um, to kind of survival stuff, so to speak. But it'll get you through if there's shortages. So oh, that's good to know. Audrey's survival lily has a lot of information. Wow, that's good to know. So those were a few things that I had written down. Also, water. You can purify water by making a little um, water distiller. If you just have a sheet of plastic, and then it's over top of the contaminated water. Some people have even done this with their own urine in the desert. Kind of gross, maybe, but it works and it becomes pure water. If you just have in that puddle or whatever, you set some rocks or something, and then you have a vessel like a soup can or whatever, and then you got plastic on top of it, right? And you try to keep the plastic all the way around. You put rocks around it or whatever to kind of seal it off, and then above that soup can, you have a pebble, and then all of the water as it evaporates or it condensates, sorry, up on the underside of that plastic, then it all drips down to that low point and drops into that soup can or whatever you've got. So lots of things that you can learn, lots of things I know that haven't ever made videos of or anything, but It's important to know. Water filtration is another one. If you've got a little water filter or a home water filtration system, learn how to use it when you don't have electricity. Um, and if it doesn't work without electricity, well, get one that does. They're not expensive. I mean, you can get them for less than 20 bucks. Sawyer makes a good one. Sawyer. We've got a couple of those that we use for backpacking and things like that. The other thing that you can try is gorilla planting. So I've never done this before, but I've heard that it works really well for a lot of people. And that is to take some seeds or some started plants and go plant them somewhere. Um, if you don't have land, plant them in a community area or a park or something like that. I don't condone this during normal times, but if you're desperate and you have nowhere to grow, um, I have heard people successfully planting tomatoes in places that you would never even expect. Even downtown urban centers, there's places where people have planted tomatoes and they've got tomatoes that they go buy and pick. It's another idea. You can also make snares out of simple wire, and you can snare rabbits or squirrels or all kinds of different things that you could eat. And fishing. If y'all haven't gotten good at fishing, now's a good time to practice that hobby. It's an easy way to get food for yourself. This channel right here, Yogi Hollow Farm. Have a good day, Lisa. Uh, yeah, I hear you. It's 10 degrees here. Yogi Hollow Farm had a awesome video on ice fishing that they just put up. So go check that out. Um, and good morning, Laura. I hope you and Chris are doing well out there. Um, and let's see. This guy, Chuck, he knows how to catch himself some big old catfish. So um, if you know how to procure food and you're comfortable with it, one less thing you gotta be concerned about if there's supply chain shortages. Just go have fun, go fishing, right? And get some food, learn how to cook it if your power goes out, all that stuff. But that's really all I've got for you today. Those were some of the top things. Uh, Learn how to make compost. Start today. Start right now. If you don't know how to make compost, start right now. It's great. And it's super easy. Hey, Cactus Annie Prepper, glad you're here. Cactus Annie Prepper, I think you're the one that I learned how to make those little boats, how to fry an egg on a tortilla. Was that you? I think that was it. Man, that's one of my favorite snacks now. So thanks for that. We have tons of eggs, and it's a great way to eat them. Anyway, if that's not you, sorry about that. But I think that was you, Cactus Annie Prepper. Um, all right, let's see. Um, I still have some, Anthony. I still have a few cookies left. Um, yes, Gary, you do need to practice fishing. Please practice your fishing. There are supply shortages, they're bound to be coming, and you need to have some fish. So go practice that fishing. Um, uh, Chuck says, let me know how that works, Gary. Um, Yeah, but I was talking about composting. First of all, start composting today. Learn how to do it, and there's not much to it. Just throw stuff into a container that you don't really plan on using for a while, trash can or whatever. If it's got a lid, great. But you will need to get air into it every once in a while, and you will need to turn it every once in a while too. Bigger the better, if you can. But start composting right now. Just throw stuff in there that will decay. Plant matter is best. That's all. Learn how to make coffee outside, or tea, or hot chocolate, or something. Learn how to boil water without using electricity, especially, or natural gas that's pumped into your house. All right. Learn how to make a fire. If you don't know how to make a fire at all, you can start simple. Start with a match and some newspaper and some wood. But I'm talking about wood fire here. Start learning how to make yourself a fire if you don't know how to already. And if you're good at making fire, I'm going to give you a challenge. Try to make a fire without a lighter or a match. Okay. And if you're good at that, try to make a fire without a lighter or match or any man made materials. That's a challenge. It's not easy. But Bushcraft USA, if you look that up, there's great tutorials that they have, good YouTube videos too. Um, Iowa Woodsman. I think that's I think that's his channel name. He's got good tutorials too. All right, learn how to make a shelter as well. You can have a tarp available. I highly recommend getting a good tarp, not just a plastic tarp, but get a nylon tarp that is, they call it sil nylon, silicone impregnated nylon or silicone coated nylon tarp. uh, yeah, those are great to have, and they're great to keep in your vehicle if you ever need to make a shelter, even if it's not rainy or snowy. If it's windy and you need to stay outside of your vehicle for some reason, they're good to have. Or if you're planning to hike home or something, your vehicle runs out of gas or whatever, it's good to just bring that tarp around. You can even use it kind of as a second layer over a jacket or in lieu of a jacket or whatever. But yeah, if they're waterproof, all the better. Um, and then I also talked about water filtration. So make sure you got a way to filter water if electricity goes out too, and practice it. And then I talked about gorilla planting and snares. Those are kind of last stitch efforts. Snares are usually not legal in many places. So it's fun to practice making them, but actually using them to catch wild game could be illegal. So be careful. Also, gorilla planting could be illegal. But I have seen like tomato plants growing in the middle of downtown San Diego in just an old abandoned garden bed that was there at one time. You know, just a landscaping bed. Somebody planted a tomato behind a bunch of plants, and it had ripe tomatoes on it, and nobody was eating them. So anyway, just a few ideas, and then fishing. Be like Gary and go ask your loved one if you can go practice fishing because it may help you through a meat shortage someday. Who knows? Hey there, Mike Homestead Family Reclaim. Glad you're here. Start a fire with your chainsaw. Yeah, that's not how that's supposed to work. I don't think, Gary. um, all right, everybody. I gotta get off of here. I gotta get to work, and been on a little bit longer than I thought I would. So so appreciative of all you being on here. And it's hard to go when there's 20 people in the chat. So I hope that was a fun live stream for y'all. Anthony's seen strawberries growing in junkyards. Yeah, plants will grow wherever they can. You know, you've probably seen trees growing in cracks of rocks and things like that. So, um, hey, good morning, Des. Glad you're here. Um, yeah, you too, Mindy Joe. Have a great day. God bless you, and God bless everybody in the chat. Hope you all do well. Don't forget to pray for one another. Pray for the Christians in Ukraine that they would share the gospel with their neighbors. The greatest gift anybody could ever receive. Glad you're here, Matt. Grafted Branch Homestead. Um, yeah, bad timing, Des. No problem. I've had that happen so often to me too. But glad you're here. And yeah, you all have a great day today. Practice some things that could be useful skills in the future and have fun with them, right? Even if you never really use them to survive per se or get through a shortage, um, have fun. Just have fun, like fishing, right? Fishing doesn't have to be like, oh no, if I don't catch a fish, I'm gonna die. No, don't think of it that way. Think of it as fun. Even if you're starving to death, right? Have fun with it. Have fun with composting. Have fun with um, starting fire. You know, be careful with it, but have fun with it, you know? See what you can learn, and you won't learn unless you have some experience with it. And you might learn how to do it on YouTube, but you might not actually learn it until you try it. Same thing is true with your spiritual walk of faith, right? You might know about Jesus and think that's great. I know about Jesus, right? I know he can save me. But if you're not following him, he said he said follow me, right? Just follow him. It's easy. Love God and love your neighbor. Thank God for for the day, for the beautiful full things in life, for things that you shouldn't take for granted, but you maybe do. I know I do that, and love your neighbor. That's it. All right, everybody. God bless y'all. See you on the next one. I'm Nick from AZ Highland Homestead. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I have more videos for you real soon. Bye, y'all.